question. Africa's energy future stands at a critical crossroads. As demand rises and economies grow, the continent must balance energy security, affordability, and sustainability. These pressing issues will take center stage at the Africa Energy Indaba 2026, taking place at the Cape Town International Convention Center from the 3rd to the 5th of March. Let's speak now to Mary-Joy Masetlane, manager at the South African Independent Power Producers Association. Good afternoon. Let's pick up on the conversation. I was saying that you come at it from the vantage point of the independent power producers who have become quite critical part of the mix of energy production on the African continent. But I don't imagine that you are not immersed in the broader conversations that will be happening at the Energy Indaba. What are some of the themes that you look forward to?
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me. So one of the major themes that I would like to highlight at the moment that we are all looking forward to is energy access, energy poverty, and energy security. So these are in line with the Sustainable Development Goal number 7, which aims to ensure that there's access to affordable, reliable energy, and that is available for everyone by 2030. And some of the key themes that we are looking forward to engaging in are electricity reform, which is one of the biggest currently, as well as unlocking investments in energy, in infrastructure, and energy decarbonization, as well as climate resilience.
And along that vein, what are some of the emerging trends in the conversation? Because the conversation around energy poverty on the African continent is not new, is it? I mean, we've been talking for quite some time now, the figure ranging anywhere from 490 million Africans to 600 million Africans, 80% of people who have no access to reliable electricity being from the African continent. But how is that conversation evolving in terms of the solutions that are on the table to addressing the energy poverty situation?
I mean, like you've mentioned, energy access is a big issue, especially in Africa. So some of the conversations that are coming up are, to ensure that there is affordable energy. But before we even get to that, looking at things like infrastructure investment, expansion of the transition in order to incorporate more and more renewable energy. And what this will do is that it will ensure that there is competition, private sector, public sector competition in the energy space, which will then drive competition as well as reduce prices to ensure that prices are affordable, and that with the investment in transmission, this will ensure that there is now more electrification to increase the access of electricity to all the people that currently do not have access to energy.
So let's touch then on your field, independent power producers. What's your sense of whether or not that's increasingly being embraced, certainly at a governmental level, but perhaps at a societal level in the multiple countries on the African continent, given the history and tradition of many of these countries having come from a tradition where, there were big nationally owned utilities that had a monopoly on the provision of these services, whereas your entry as the independent power producers is fundamentally changing that picture. And I don't imagine that there wasn't a fair amount of skepticism, if not resistance, to the very idea.
So with the IPPs, what is more important is that when you're looking at the energy transition, we are moving away from the single buyer format in which, like you said, we have one utility and electricity is centralized to a more decentralized energy market. And that's where IPPs get in. And what that will do is that it increases, or rather, it reduces the risk and therefore increases investments in energy. And I'll give you an example of one of the IPPs, which is a trader, which is African Green Core. They are based in Zambia, but they also have offices in South Africa. And what this does now is that they are registered as, you know, a trade to trade in the Southern African Power Pool. And this will result now in a bigger energy market where some of the SADC countries can now start supplying electricity also to South Africa and not only getting, for example, oil from gas from Mozambique. And other countries can start supplying each other, and South Africa can also supply into the region. And this will grow the regional energy industry and pool and increase the volumes of trade, as well as looking at the bigger picture, alleviate energy poverty, as well as grow the regional economy.
All right, let's leave it there for this afternoon. Let's not exhaust the conversation even before you get to the Africa Energy Indaba. That's Mary-Joy Masetlane there, manager at the South African Independent Power Producers Association, talking to me ahead of the Africa Energy Indaba, which will be on the go from the 3rd to the 5th of March.